Hey guys, Sam Costello here from Keller Williams City Views Realty 3 Group. I am your New Jersey realtor, and I'm here and we are going over steps for a first-time home buyer, or just steps for buying a home in general. So our first video, we spoke about getting pre-approved. The second video, we spoke about searching for your home, finding the right place. And now we're going to touch on the offer. You found the right home. Congratulations. You found a beautiful place for you to grow or to raise your family, whatever it may be, but you found the right place. And now you want to put an offer in. There's many different parts of a contract. It can get pretty daunting. It's about almost 700, well, it is over 700. It's over 770 lines of text and legal jargon that could seem a little bit overwhelming. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go over a few things, the major important parts. So you have a realtor, let's just assume you do, and they're going to put an offer in for you. Well, you already got your pre-approval and you've already dealt with the lender, and now you're dealing with the realtor and they've been showing you places to see, homes that are available in the area. Now you pick the right place. So now you fill in the contract, which would be your name, who the buyer is, what's your address currently. And there's a few things. Now, first off, we're gonna go by your purchase price. Just because you come in, let's say, at the asking price doesn't mean you're guaranteed you're gonna get that house. It's not like going to the store, like going to the supermarket and you see, let's go with eggs, because eggs right now for some reason are $8 a dozen. But you go to your local supermarket and you want to buy a dozen eggs and it's $8.50. That you pick up those eggs, go to the register, $8.50, boom, you're out, done. It's not really how buying a house works. Sometimes it does, but most of the time it doesn't. You're putting in an offer. Even if you come in at list price, what they're asking, doesn't guarantee you're going to get it, because there's many factors that play into this. Let's say the sellers that are selling the house, they need more time. You know, it's not just that it's going to become vacant. They may be purchasing a home or building a home and they need 6 months, maybe 3 months, let's just say. Let's say 3 months. So they can't close for 3 months. So even if you put a full price offer, but you want to close, let's say in 30 days, they're going to say, you know what, I don't know if we could do that. So you'd have to talk to your agent, have their agent talk to that agent, and see if that would be something they would go for in your contract. But sometimes you can come under the price, the list price, and you wind up getting the home. It all depends. Sometimes you have to go over the price. Sometimes you have to. They're not looking for someone with a mortgage, looking for somebody all cash. So it all depends. But this is what you would do. You would first fill out your offer sheet, filling out all the information, and then would come down to the price. So it's the total purchase price, initial deposit, additional deposit, mortgage, and your balance of purchase price. So the balance of the purchase price is what you would be paying out of your pocket cash for the home. So let's say it's a $500,000 home and you're putting down 20%. So $500,000 home, putting down 20% is $100,000. Now, some of that has to be a deposit. Now, you have to give a deposit usually it's within 10 days, 7 to 10 days after you get out of attorney review, which we'll get to. But so let's say you're putting $100,000 down and you want to put $10,000 into deposit. So it'll be $10,000 in the deposit section, $90,000 in the balance of the purchase price section, and then your mortgage would be $400,000, which is what you're getting from the bank, which would make a total of $500,000 for the home. And let's say they accepted that, okay? Now you're going to go into attorney review, which attorney review means you have to pick a lawyer, an attorney, someone who's well-versed in real estate, and the sellers would have an attorney, and they would go forth with this contract signed by both parties, and what they would do is they would send over, does your client agree to this, a whole bunch of legal speak, and then once everything's concluded and everybody's happy with the way that the contract has ended up, and any riders that need to be signed, like if there was additional furniture that was being left or not, or let's say they want, you're the buyer and you want the garage cleaned of any and all clutter, then the seller would have to acknowledge that and sign a rider, send it back, everybody agrees, boom, we're done. We're out of attorney review. Let's say usually takes anywhere between a day to a week. Usually it's about 3 days. But let's say we're done with attorney review. So after done with attorney review, you have about a week usually to supply the deposit money to your attorney to give to the seller's attorney to hold in an escrow account. The escrow account is held until the closing date, when that money will be transferred to the seller with the rest of the money from the bank and the money from you that you'll be putting down on the house. There's all different types of mortgages too. There's VA, which is the veterans loans, FHA, which is the first homeowners loan. Then you have a Section 203K, conventional, and others. There's other types of loans out there, but those are pretty much your standard ones. Usually it's conventional, but you'd have to point out in the contract which one it is and how much they would be mortgaging with that type of loan. Another few things we're going to talk about is you agree to an inspection, items included in the sale, which we talked about, which is usually whatever is included in the MLS, whatever we discussed with the two agents. They would have to discuss it. They would convey to you what is going with the home. Might be, all the appliances in the kitchen, could be outdoor patio furniture, whatever it may be. It's usually in the listing itself, and that is put in there. Items excluded, let's say they want to make sure definitely that the big 15-foot wide mirror that they put on the wall, they want to take it with them, that's excluded from the sale. They will write it in there also. Now, everything has to be done at a certain date and time, and it's all written in the contract. If anything is ever going to be changed, you have to let your agent know and let your attorney know so that they could convey it to the other attorney. They could tell them and they can get everything signed up and the dates changed. Then there's the certificate of occupancy and zoning, which the seller would have to go to the city and get the certificate of occupancy from them. The city usually comes, checks out all the fire extinguishers, the smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, things like that. Make sure all the rails are safe in the house, things like that. Then there's also, we're going to talk about lead-based paint, which before 1978, if the home was built before 1978, there might be chances that there was trace amounts of lead paint in the home. Now, if there was or is or whatever it is, there is a form that you'd both need to sign to acknowledge that. If it was built after 1978, you don't have to do anything really. You just sign a paper saying there's no lead paint in the home. But that's also in the contract, so if it was, we have to mark it, and we have to have the correct paperwork in order to support that. Now, there's other things about like a POET entry, like a water treatment system in the house, cesspools, that has to be marked too. There's other things too, like if the house comes with a pool, a swimming pool, or anything like that, there's other addendum parts of the contract, there's other forms we have to fill out. Now, every standard contract comes with a portion where we have to agree to, they have to agree, the sellers would have to agree to doing an inspection. You could waive it. Let's say you like the home, you don't want to inspect it, fine. But you're waiving your rights to the inspection, and that's another form we'd have to fill out. But in a standard contract, which we're going by now, you do have the right to inspect the home, and if the seller agrees to it, which they more than likely will, then you do the inspection. That's usually done usually 10 to 14 days after you're done with attorney review. Then there's also about flood hazards and responsibility cures, which is nothing serious. It's your standard things. If the house is in a flood area, you have to provide the paperwork for that, and provide the you have to get flood insurance as well as home insurance. Failure of buyer or seller to close. If seller fails to close title to the property in accordance with this contract, buyer then may commence any legal or equitable action to which buyer may be entitled. If buyer fails to close title in accordance with this contract, seller then may commence an action for damages it has suffered, and in such case the deposit monies paid on account of the purchase price shall be applied against such damages. If buyer or seller breach this contract, The breaching party will nevertheless be liable to brokers for the commissions in the amount set forth in this contract, as well as reasonable attorney fees, costs, and such other damages. Now, equitable liens is they would have to do a title search also when it's under going into attorney review. When you're under contract, they would need to do a title search, make sure the title is free and clear of all liens. So when your agent gives this offer to the seller's agent, they have 3 days to get back to you. 3 business days, so Monday to Friday. They have 3 days to get back to you with either a counteroffer or acceptance, or just say no, plain out no. And then in which turn you have 3 days in which you could reply back with a counteroffer or say no, or say yes. After that negotiation takes place, let's say you settle on the price, which will continue with the $500,000. Let's just make it nice and even. So you're buying the house for $500,000. You sign the paperwork, you initial everything, you get it signed back from the other agent with their seller's signatures on everything and initialed up. Good. You went underneath attorney review. You went under attorney review. House is marked under attorney review. Great. Now comes the time for the inspections, which if you're going to be doing the inspections, which I believe is a good idea, you'd have to hire an inspector, and they would have to come down. They would have to inspect the property, and then you get a report. You get a report. In the report, they'll bring up different things. Sometimes the outlets, let's say if it's an older home, are not grounded properly and not up to code. That could be something that comes up. It could also be that you might have a part of the roof that's leaking. Maybe the gutters are clogged in one certain area, or maybe they're just broken. A lot of times too, these are smaller things, nothing major. Sometimes they'll tell you the whole roof needs to be replaced. Sometimes they'll tell you that it has a foundational issue. These are things you could bring up to your agent and to your attorney, and we can negotiate it and get a concession back from the sellers, hopefully. That's another negotiation that has to be done between the attorneys. The agents too could speak to each other on your behalf and the seller's behalf and try to figure out a solution, but usually it goes to the attorneys. And it's always handled through the attorneys at the end of it. But a concession would mean that upon closing, they would give back, let's say, let's just say that the roof needed some work, and the total is you get a contractor, and then he says, yes, we could do the roof, it's going to be $2,000. So now you could ask the seller, hey, listen, instead of you doing it, if you want to do it, fine, if you want to fix it, but we could have it done and we would like $2,000 back. And then they'll say, you know what, at closing, we'll give you $2,000 back off the purchase price, which now will make the home $498,000. That is something that could be worked out also. Sometimes they don't want to fix it. And then if you would like, then you could tell your attorney that you would like to walk away and get your deposit money back because the house wasn't in the condition that they stated it was in. And then that would be another round with the attorneys, and more than likely you will get your money back and you can walk away from the deal. But that's all depends on the inspection and what comes up with that. Once you get past the inspection though, let's say everything comes out great, nothing, no problems at all. Now the bank would order the appraisal. The appraiser, similar to the inspector, would come down, but what the appraiser does is they work for the bank, and they're making sure that the money that they're giving, because they're giving $400,000 for this piece of property for you to buy it. So they want to make sure everything's in good standing order with the home and that it is worth what you are paying for it. So the appraiser will come and he'll do his evaluation, his or her evaluation of the home, take a look at it and make sure that everything checks out and that the comps in the area, the comparable properties all come up around the same price. And if everything's good with that, you go forward. Now, if the appraisal comes in less, let's say the appraisal, because sometimes it does happen. You might have bought the home for $500,000, but the appraiser comes and he says, you know what? This home is only worth $480,000. So now there's $20,000 there, which you would have to then go to your attorney, your agent and your attorney, and they would have to discuss it with the other agent and attorney about what to do, which usually would either be another concession, would be them lowering the sales price, or would be them saying no, and then you'd have to come up with the $20,000 additionally, because now you're not getting $400,000 in a mortgage from the bank. Now you're getting $380,000. So now you'd have to come up with that $20,000 out of your pocket to pay for the house. And in that case, it's not going to the mortgage, it's just going to the seller. That is something else that does happen sometimes, but hopefully it won't with you. And it'll appraise, which most of the time happens. And once you get appraised for the correct value, now boom, you get the title has to be ordered, and everything gets set up for the closing date, which is the meeting of the minds. You get your closing date, you go there, sign a ton of paperwork, tons and tons of papers. And congratulations, you get your keys, you get all your paperwork. Also you have to get insurance on your home. That's another important thing. You have to get insurance, and if you are in a flood area or a partial flood area, a FEMA flood zone, you do have to get flood insurance. And once you get all that done, everything's taken care of, you're at the closing, you get your keys, and you're good to go. That's it for the contract. There's a whole lot more, and it could get very intricate depending on what type of property you're buying, what type of home you're purchasing. But this is just for your typical residential home, for a first-time home buyer, just trying to guide you guys through this, make sure you understand. If you have any questions, if you need more help, let me know. I'm here for you. You could drop me a message down below in the comment section, or you could message me or call me. You'll see my number there too. I am around. I deal with a lot of New Jersey real estate, mostly northern New Jersey, but I deal all around. So if you have any interest in any other type of videos, let me know, guys. We're going to do another one of these. We're going to do some more. Do some more roles of what could happen. Maybe we'll do an FHA one next time that covers that. But anyway, like and subscribe. And this is Sam Costello signing off. See you guys later.